Welcome to Revelstoke. This town is located in British Columbia, Canada, along the mighty Columbia River, nestled between the Selkirk and Monashee mountain ranges. Settled in the 1880s as a railway town, it's now blossomed into a hub for all kinds of outdoor adventures. It's probably most well known for its ski resort and national park, but there's tons of other fun things to get into. We're Jake and Emily, the two roaming souls. Experienced travelers with a passion for the outdoors who make helpful guides about the places we visit. And this is our top 10 things to do in Revelstoke.
Whitewater rafting. Whitewater rafting is definitely one of the most exciting adventures near Revelstoke. We went with Apex Rafting, who's been taking people out on the river since 1993. You meet right downtown to get kitted out with wetsuits and all the gear. And then they shuttle you to the put-in location. And don't worry if you don't know anything about rafting. Apex's experienced guides provide all the instruction you need for a safe and enjoyable experience.
We'll just practice that timing for the forwards paddle.
Shout out to our guide Graham, who kept us engaged the whole time with facts about the area and plenty of jokes too. You'll be surprised how quickly a group of strangers are working as a team to navigate down a gnarly river. We rafted down a very scenic 26-kilometer section of the Illecillewaet River, aka the Illy. The rafting season runs from around May to September. You can expect Class 3 to 4 rapids early in the season, dropping down to Class 2 to 3 later in the summer. We rafted in late August, which wasn't peak flow by any means, but personally, the rapids were still plenty exciting. And one thing that's so cool about Apex is that they send you your trip photos for free right after. So you can focus on enjoying the journey and still walk away with some awesome photos. We'll link to their website below if you're interested in booking your own rafting trip. If whitewater rafting seems a little too intense, there's plenty of chances to paddle on some calmer lakes and rivers. We also took a guided kayaking tour with Apex Rafting on the Columbia River. We started just below the Revelstoke Dam and leisurely paddled our way downstream past the Big Eddy and the iconic 3 bridges entering Revelstoke, and then ending the float right in town. It was a relaxing and leisurely paddle down the river, enjoying the scenery.
Revelstoke Mountain Resort. In the winter, this ski resort is famous for having the longest vertical descent of any ski resort in North America. But in the summer, it's open for a whole different host of fun activities, like the pipe coaster, mountain biking, paragliding, hiking, disc golfing, aerial ropes course, axe throwing, and more. There are a couple different day pass options here, some for single activities like the pipe coaster or mountain biking or hiking, or they sell a play all day pass which grants you access to nearly all the activities. And you can usually save money by booking in advance. We got the play all day pass and headed up for a fun day of activities. The pipe coaster is a thrilling alpine coaster that weaves its way down the mountain. You ride up the lower gondola to get to the start of the coaster. They strap you in and away you go. It's seriously fun. You can reach speeds up to 42 kilometers per hour. Some of the turns can be a little abrupt, but ultimately you can control your own speed with a handbrake. There are 2 separate tracks, but on weekdays late in the summer, they were only running one of them. If you book a pass with full mountain access, you can ride the upward gondola up the resort for incredible views of the town of Revelstoke and Mount Begbie, the region's most iconic peak. And it's a great starting point for their alpine hiking trails, downhill mountain biking trails, and even paragliding high above Revelstoke. And stop into the Mackenzie Outpost for some drinks and one of their delicious hamburgers. The 9-hole disc golf course and axe throwing are 2 other fun activities you can try. Mountain biking is another really popular activity here, with rental shops at the base area and trails for all ability levels. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, give it a like and subscribe to our channel to help it grow. Thanks.
Mount Revelstoke National Park. This stunning national park sits right at the doorstep of town, and somewhat refreshingly, it doesn't get quite as busy as some of the other national parks like Yoho, Banff, and Glacier. The most popular things to do in Mount Revelstoke National Park are hiking, backpacking, sightseeing, and driving the Meadows in the Sky Parkway. This scenic drive is the easiest way to access some of the best scenery and hikes in the park. Well, easy for you, but not your vehicle, because this 26-kilometer mountain road climbs over 1,300 meters. On the way up, the world's only inland temperate rainforests eventually give way to subalpine wildflower meadows. You pass several lookouts on the way up, our favorites of which were Revelstoke View and Panorama Point. At the top of the scenic drive, you can park at Balsam Lake and explore the scenery around the summit of Mount Revelstoke. But during peak summer months, be aware that parking at the top is limited, especially for RVs. The most popular short hike is the Upper Summit Trail, which is 3 kilometers with 104 meters of elevation change. It takes you around Alpine Meadows to a historic fire lookout and several awesome viewpoints. If you're looking for a longer adventure, you can continue on to Miller Lake and Eva Lake, which is one of the most beautiful hikes around Revelstoke. This trail is 16 kilometers with 549 meters of elevation gain. Don't worry if you haven't been taking notes, we'll leave a link in the description to all our favorite trails around Revelstoke. Both alpine lakes are surrounded by beautiful mountains. If you've hiked this far, it's not that difficult to visit both Miller Lake and Eva Lake. One other lake you can hike to is Jade Lake. But by adding another 8 kilometers and 365 meters of elevation, it makes it a pretty grueling day hike. So this one is much better if you're able to score campsite permits for an overnight backpacking trip, or there's also campsite permits for Eva Lake too.
Explore downtown Revelstoke. Make sure you take some time to explore the town of Revelstoke. What began as just a railway hub is now a charming small town bustling with people who love working and playing in the mountains. There's tons of great restaurants, shops, art galleries, and more. Don't miss the farmers market every Saturday from May to October. It's a great way to experience the local farms, artists, restaurants, and more. And unlike many other quote-unquote farmers markets, we were impressed with the number of actual local farms selling their produce. While wandering the town, my photographer's eye was drawn to this one alleyway for its nice composition. And then come to find out local artists felt similarly about this space, turning the alley into a little outdoor art gallery. Then we also stopped into a formal gallery showcasing local artists. And while we don't actually own a house to hang artwork, we did find something that spoke to us.
Found some goggle socks from a local artist. They protect your ski goggle lenses from getting scratched when you're not using them.
Another popular spot to check out in town is the Railway Museum. Stop in here to learn about Revelstoke's railway history that's still being written to this day.
Visit the local breweries. Revelstoke has 2 awesome local craft breweries. The bigger one is Mount Begbie Brewing, located on a beautiful property just uphill from town. It's a great place to come for food and drinks.
This is the Full Send Hazy IPA. Love the name, love the beer. So a lot of breweries are named after things, but it's just like, something nearby. Mount Begbie Brewing literally has amazing views of Mount Begbie, so I respect that name choice. It's great.
And Rumpus Beer Company is the other smaller brewery, which is great if you're looking for a casual place to grab a beer downtown. There's a delicious Japanese food truck called Twilight Bite if you're hungry.
Boulder Mountain Lookout. This short hike to a rocky outcropping has one of the best panoramic views of town.
This is sweet.
Honestly, I think we liked it better than any of the viewpoints in the national park.
It's a pretty epic lookout. You can see pretty much all of the landmarks around. The dam up there, the river coming through here, Big Eddy, Mount Begbie, the bridges, Revelstoke, the resort, Mount Revelstoke National Park. You name it, you can see it from here.
This trail is 2.4 kilometers with 189 meters of elevation. It's a pretty easy hike, except for one spot in the beginning where you may have to climb a short rock wall. If the water level is low enough, you can walk around, which we didn't realize at first. But be aware that water levels can change rapidly, because even in the 45 minutes we spent up there, the water had already risen enough to block the walk around.
Try a local restaurant. One great cafe and restaurant is La Baguette. It's a perfect place to come for breakfast or lunch. They serve a variety of delicious pastries, sandwiches, salads, cakes, and of course, loaves of freshly baked bread. They also have another location at the base of Revelstoke Mountain Resort too. And locals told us we had to try some of the food trucks in town. Oddly enough, the two most popular both serve Japanese or Japanese fusion. There's Twilight Bite, the one we mentioned before, that's usually parked at Rumpus Beer Company, and Tamari-ba Kitchen. Tamari-ba serves more traditional favorites like poke bowls, chicken katsu, and gyoza. And Twilight Bite is a little more on the fusion side with rice bowls, pad thai, wraps, and more. You can't go wrong with either food truck. Another great spot we visited is Taco Club. This vibrant and trendy Mexican restaurant serves crazy good tacos. And apparently they started out as a food truck, so I guess we have a type. If you're looking for a great down-home restaurant, you gotta visit the Big Eddy pub. This place on the other side of the tracks just feels like that classic welcoming sports bar from your hometown. It's a great gathering place for big groups with a fun atmosphere, and food that definitely exceeds your expectations for pub food.
Hike to some waterfalls. Revelstoke has a variety of easy waterfall hikes nearby. Our three favorites are Mount Begbie Falls, Sutherland Falls, and Moses Creek Falls. Mount Begbie Falls is located just south of town at the Begbie Falls Recreation Site. You do have to drive about 2.5 kilometers on a narrow dirt road to reach the trailhead. The waterfall is very picturesque, but I think we were even more infatuated with the bright red salmon swimming just below the falls.
Wow, getting to see the salmon over there was a really nice surprise. I was not expecting that.
And hike a little farther past the falls where Begbie Creek meets the Columbia River. The dunes along the river are very scenic with great views of Revelstoke Ski Resort. Sutherland Falls is also south of town and is another worthy stop too. Moses Creek Falls is located about 10 minutes north of town, and the trail to get here is a little more muddy and unmaintained, but it's a really beautiful cascading falls.
Dose Coffee. For better or for worse, working in coffee shops has turned me into a bit of a coffee snob, so I always love finding the best local coffee roasters when we travel. And Dose Coffee is a legit coffee shop who roast their beans right here in town. But they also have a small but delicious menu of great breakfast items, and they also have some tasty vegan and vegetarian options.
Scenic Helicopter Tour. This wasn't exactly in the budget for us, so we don't have any footage, but we don't want that to stop us from sharing it with you. Since Revelstoke is one of the best places in the world for heli skiing, they also have many scenic helicopter tours too. And getting an aerial view of the nearby rivers, mountains, and glaciers would no doubt be a jaw-dropping experience. Head over to our website, tworoamingsouls.com, for even more information about visiting Revelstoke, a helpful map of the area, and more. Thanks for coming along on another Two Roaming Souls adventure. Subscribe to our channel for more travel and adventure videos. See you next time.